passed under a Trump presidency. And I'll tell you what, forward thinkers like Chris Christie are, I think he's ahead of the curve.
Yeah, Chris Christie. And then you have Sessions. Jeff Sessions coming out.
Sessions was way ahead of the curve.
Absolutely,
Both
and he's one of the most conservative senators up there. He's the most respected, most conservative senators out there, and he threw his hat in the ring for Trump months ago. Maybe not months ago, but early on.
No, maybe not months, but earlier than. Well, let's put it this way: it wasn't really 100% sure that he was going to win, and even though even now it's not 100%. It was a lot less sure he was going to win back when Sessions did it.
Right.
And Chris Christie was, I don't know, I feel like, if you look at Chris Christie's entire career from the very beginning, personality-wise, I feel like Chris Christie and Trump have similar, the temperament and just taking it to the media. The thing that put Christie on the map was when he first got elected, there was some rumblings about, even though nobody knew who he was, nobody even heard his voice before, but there were these rumors that he's kind of a Tea Party favorite. This is before the Tea Party had an epic collapse.
Right.
Somebody pointed out that he was a Tea Party favorite. So for the very first press conference he did, some dumb journalist asked him a really stupid attack question, and he just obliterated him.
Oh, that's always good. That's always good.
Oh, just absolutely obliterated him. It was such a one-sided obliteration that it became a viral video. And what happened is his response to this kind of a gotcha in your face type of question caused everybody in the conservative movement to say, "Whoa, who is this Christie guy?"
Right.
And you know what? He's been front and center ever since.
Yeah.
And
wow.
the sad part of it was he was fine until finally, he did a couple things that were questionable, and then that whole embrace heard around the world after Hurricane Sandy really, really hurt his career.
Well, and you see how he kind of goes with the wind, though. Whatever's popular, he kind of floats to it. If this is moving fast and heavy,
there's an argument that can be made that it's possible that had he not done that embrace heard around the world, that maybe Mitt Romney maybe that was the nail in the coffin for Mitt. So as far as the wind's blowing whichever way, he could have not done that.
Yeah, he picked the wrong wind. Yeah, he picked the wrong one.
An argument could be made that whoever he picked would have ended up winning.
Wow.
Like he picked Obama, did the embrace, and Obama wins. However, had he not done that embrace and maybe stood by Romney, maybe Romney wins. And so he was in that rare position where, whoever he picks is gonna go for it. It's kind of like Oprah Winfrey,
Oh, yeah.
Had she not come out and said, we need to all rally around, we need to all come together, put our differences aside, and rally around our boy, our man. Oh, we don't use the word boy when it comes to
No.
Yeah, okay, so she wouldn't use the word boy, but, our man, Obama, let's, put our differences aside and do that. And then he ends up winning. Had Obama come out and said, we need to put our differences aside and rally around Clinton, we would have had a Hillary Clinton president back in 2008.
Yeah, very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, so both those guys were in those very interesting, rare circumstances where whoever they pick was going to win.
Right. Well, that's interesting.
So.
And no, I agree with you 100%. I also agree, though, that Mitt in his last two debates had his own demise and lost it. Because we were looking for that person that would stand up and be in your face and not back down, and that never happened.
So the argument isn't as clear. It's not as clear.
And now we have
with Christie.
Right. Now we have Trump, who, regardless of anything going on, refuses to back down from anybody.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I don't want any listeners to believe that I'm making the case that Christie is the reason why Trump is going to get elected. Yeah, do not make that mistake. Yeah, I'm not. Believe me, Christie's just trying to. He's trying to find the headwinds, and he just wants to get his vote in there.
Right, he's riding on the coattails because he'll have, an appointment to a cabinet or something or whatnot. And Ben Carson came out this week and talked about this thing that went down in Arizona. Ben Carson has come out for Trump, obviously, and Ben Carson was on Fox, and that
was huge.
He's taken up for Trump. And I'll tell you what, I know Carson seems a little low energy, but it's not that he's low energy. It's just that he's more of a soft-spoken individual. But I really love entertaining the Trump Carson ticket. I think
I like the idea of Carson having some sort of a role. You do realize that
he already said that he already said that he's going to be have a role in Trump's cabinet. He already said that.
Right, and so I would rather him be a part of the cabinet than be vice president.
Okay.
Because there's two problems with that. Number one, I think Carson's much too smart to be relegated to such a pointless role. I mean, you are literally, your entire job is to be on standby and be ready in case, I don't know, Trump has a heart attack or whatever. Maybe,
you know what it is? Here's what it is. VP is the hood ornament on a Rolls Royce.
Something like that. I mean, you're really not. You really don't have a role.
No, you're the hood ornament. You don't do anything but be there. That's all you do.
But you just got to be there, right?
You're just there.
But it's possible too that you could be a consultant to the president if the president is looking to you. And I believe George W. Bush.
I was going to bring this up.
I think he tapped George. I think Cheney has been Dick Cheney's been a very important consultant to George Bush. I do believe that. I don't think he was playing president. The left will tell you that the real president was Dick Cheney. He was the one that was pulling all the strings. No, I just think that he was a good person to go to for moral support on decisions, or maybe even, bounce ideas off of.
I'll tell you,
I don't think Trump needs to be bouncing ideas off of Carson. I think Carson needs to be put in a position where he's actually making decisions at a cabinet level.
Right.
And same exact thing with Cruz. I don't think Cruz should be in a cabinet. I don't think he should be VP. I think Cruz needs to stay in the Senate where he's actually maybe spearheading policy.
Right.
Because that's what you do in Congress is you make legislation, and I think that Cruz needs to be there, for the conservative movement. So all these people saying, we need a Trump-Cruz ticket. No. That, for the conservative movement, that's actually a less powerful position for the movement.
Right, because it'd be more position. Right, it'd be more spread out. Yeah. The leaders who take charge would be more spread out amongst the administration. Or not the administration, but part of the Senate, part of the House, we want leaders in all the branches.
Yeah, and especially where Cruz is. I mean, stay in Congress and be a person who's not only making policy, but getting up there in front of them and saying, you guys are a bunch of idiots. This is wrong. Right. We shouldn't be doing it. Seriously, he needs to be a voice there in Congress. So he needs to stay there. Did you hear? I'm going to be honest with you. He's always been there, but because he didn't show himself really until this week, he was off my radar. But he shows up, and I'm like, oh, crap. This is the VP choice right here. Do you remember who?
Mr. Pizza.
Mr. Pizza.
The godfather of pizza.
Herman Cain, when he reared his head this week and somehow made headlines, I totally forgot, and I was like, oh my gosh! And now Herman Cain, let me say something about Herman Cain. when he was still a viable candidate, at one point he was the front runner in a very crowded field early in the primary before Mitt Romney eventually took over and became the nominee in 2012. I was all for Herman Cain. He was my man back in 2012. I said, out of all the people who are running and look like they might have a chance, my guy's got to be Herman Cain. So I went to one of his rallies. And when I got there, I'll be honest with you, man, I didn't realize how much, even though nationally he was doing really well in the poll numbers nationally, I went to a rally of his that was in Cincinnati, and it was early in the morning on like a Tuesday, which I'm like, who the heck can come to this?
Right.
I think I was the only one that showed up that was not currently in his campaign. Oh, and wow. So it was this small, it was like a Sheridan, or it was in Sharonville. It was in one of the, it was in one of the, the ballrooms or whatever.
Right.
That was sectioned off like to a third of its size. Like it had like 100 seats maybe.
Wow.
And like me and 3 other people. And there were some media people. Like half of the entire room was media. The other half of the room were Herman Cain, not supporters. Herman Cain, they were part of his campaign.
Oh,
so, yeah,
wow.
He was kind of hurting.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a 27-second clip on Herman Cain to the establishment, and he was... Is
it this week? Is it current?
No, this was March 2nd.
Oh, so that's pretty recent.
It's not too far off. Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
he was on Fox News, and
it wasn't March 2nd of 2014, is it?
2012.
Oh,
I'm lying.
What?
I'm lying. I'm not.
Oh, 2016.
I'll
right.
play it and see how it comes off. All right.
Okay.
This is Herman Cain on Fox with.
How do you feel about the establishment getting into almost a panic about the Trump run?
Well, I'm probably not going to get invited to many establishment gatherings because my message to them is quite simply, get over it. So I believe that the establishment needs to get over it and just allow the people to speak. And so far, 285 delegates, that's not a fluke. Get over it, establishment.
Okay, I don't know if you were able to hear that very well, but pretty much Herman Cain is telling the establishment, get over it.
Oh, I heard it loud and clear. It was very good quality.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. Okay, well, so, I mean, you see where Herman Cain's coming from, and then obviously you're saying this week, if you do the Google on Herman Cain, he's definitely back in the news, and he stood up to the anti-Trump protesters and yelled at him, told him, said Donald Trump is not a racist, and he was standing up to the protesters for Donald Trump. So, yeah, I mean.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and he was
awesome.
not on the map. He wasn't on the map for me originally. And so when he came out and said that, I was like, oh, I forgot about Herman Cain. But one thing I wanted to say about that is that he's really amazing when he speaks. I think he might be one of the best speakers I've ever heard in my life.
Really?
Because he speaks so loud in person. When you're in person and you hear it, it's kind of startling. Like it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
And he speaks very, very clear and loud. Like you can hear it in the.
He's got that booming voice.
Right. Oh, it's booming. He's got a lot of bass. He's like that, that bass baritone type of voice.
Right.
And it's really it's loud. Like when he started speaking, I was like, wow, I was riveted. And I was just amazed. So I got, being the only one there, I got to shake his hand.
Nice. Hey, so check this out. He's on Twitter. His handle is @TheHermanCain. And he posted a picture of Lindsey Graham, John McCain, and Ted Cruz all sitting together, and he tweeted, Lindsey Graham to fundraise for Ted Cruz.
Well, I think they realize that first of all, Kasich is done. For those of you that